Thank you, Greg. Thank you for putting this together. I'm known as Brad Sherman from California's best named city, Sherman Oaks. 2 years ago, they added to my district the Pacific Palisades and all the surrounding areas that were affected by the fire. Before the fire started, NOAA warned us that we were going to have significant winds. Gavin Newsom deployed well over half of Northern California's firefighting aircraft and 100 fire companies down to Southern California before the first spark. Don't let them abolish NOAA. On January 7th, we saw dozens of fires. Most of them were put out. 2 of them tragically were major. We've seen what AccuWeather estimates is $275 billion in damage. President Trump, in his inaugural address, said that these fires hit us without even a token of defense. And obviously, our firefighters took great offense to that. The Palisades fire, 23,000 acres, 7,000 buildings destroyed. The Eaton fire, you'll hear from Judy about, even bigger in some ways. I'd like to give you a little quick picture of the best and the worst of American government. Within 2 days, they took over the West Side Pavilion, a huge shopping center that now has other purposes. They set up tables for 70 different government agencies, all in 2 days. But we live in a country where if you're hit by a fire, you might have to talk to 70 different government agencies. Our government was designed by our founders who split power into so many different fragments, and then we fragmented further. Donald Trump came to my district. He came and he announced that he wanted to abolish FEMA. First, that's terrible employee management. I got these guys and women working 12 hours a day helping my people, and he says he wants to fire all of them and abolish their district. But second, it's absolutely absurd to think that, as the president proposed, the federal government should write the checks and every state should have the response capacity on their own. We couldn't do that in California, let alone Rhode Island. For example, there are 28 search and rescue teams sent to North Carolina. So they're supposed to have 28 teams on their payroll 24/7, 365 until some disaster hits that one particular state. They fired the probationary FEMA employees with 1 or 2 years. They gave a fork in the road. This is undercutting FEMA's ability to respond. Don't abolish FEMA, but there's some changes. First and foremost, statute has to provide that people have at least 180 days to apply for aid. The current rule says they have 60 days. I've sent a dozen emails to all my people, and then I talked to Judy and her friend, and I find out that so many people over the age of 95 are not reading my emails. And a lot of people do not know and cannot know whether they even qualify since they don't know whether their insurance company will come through. Yet, I've begged FEMA's office to extend the March 10 deadline. They haven't done so. All members from California, Democrat and Republican, thank you, signed the letter to FEMA and to the SBA urging that this deadline be extended to December 31. Second, FEMA provides a grant to rebuild your home if you're totally uninsured as high as $43,600. That will not rebuild a mobile home. That number should be bigger. And I think it should go through FEMA, and you should double or triple that amount. What is traditionally done is instead a separate CDBG program is administered by state and local authorities. That is what our governor is requesting. Whether it comes from this agency or that agency doesn't matter a lot, but FEMA's already writing checks. I support the governor's proposal. Conditions are outrageous. Should those of us from California vote against hurricane victims in Louisiana and tell them to sleep on their cousin's couch until Louisiana changes its abortion law? I am opposed to Louisiana's abortion law every bit as much as the president doesn't like our voter registration laws in California. One thing that's rumored as a condition is, hey, we want to make sure that when you rebuild, it doesn't all burn down again. We will do that, because we passed a law in 2008. Everything built after that date in the Palisades has got to meet the new fireproofing standards. We know these standards work because in Paradise, in Northern California, huge fire, 58% of those that met the standard survived. Only 18% of the homes that didn't meet the standard survived. Water was not an issue. This has nothing to do with the smelt. We have plenty of water in LA County. Somebody took a long shower during the fire, no problem. The problem is getting the water pumped up the hill in the Palisades. That has nothing to do with the quantity of water in LA County. And thank you, Northern California, for sending us a bunch, although this water tends to come from the Colorado. Finally, the president should not be firing federal firefighters and those engaged in vegetation management. What are we trying to do? Have another one of these or several more? I think that concludes my remarks. I yield back.